G'day and welcome to the field, an NBA free agency pod, a special pod because I tell you what, those who love the NBA are well aware. What happens on the court is fun. It's enjoyable. We love it. It's where championships are won and legacies are left. But what happens off the court, as soon as the season's done, trades, transactions, retirements, free agency. That is what really sparks the drama across the NBA. We see it in the NFL. We're moving closer to it in the AFL. It is the offseason that sparks more drama, more chatter, more conversation, more debate than what happens in between the lines. My name is Josh Jenkins. Welcome to the field, an NBA free agency special. We're going to cover everything today. There's been a heap of moves. Some of them we won't worry about. There are a few sort of low-level free agency moves and trades that we won't get to because there are so many. Simply can't get to them all. We simply cannot get to them all. I'm not racing and competing with Woj, the Woj bomb, Adrian Wojnarowski, or Shams to try and break some major NBA news, but I'm having an absolute blast following along. Every time you wake up in the morning, you pick up the phone, you're scrolling Twitter or TikTok or whatever your chosen social media platform may be. Big things have happened. Mind-blowing things have happened. Cash has been splashed all over the place, and that's what we're going to dive into over the next 15 or so minutes. So let's have a look around the association at some deals that have been done. So these will be some extensions, some renegotiations to current deals, mainly free agent acquisitions, some trades, some moves and deals that may be on the horizon. I'm also going to have a look at, and I'm a little bit annoyed at myself for this, but I'm going to have a look at the top 3 deals that made my head spin and not necessarily in a good way. The 3 deals that just had me just confused about what was happening. So let's start off with the good stuff. Sacramento, the Beam, they renegotiated their deal with their big man, the Lithuanian, Domantas Sabonis. He has extended. He's going to get $217 million across the next 5 seasons. So 4 new years on top of his current deal. So Sabonis stays in Sacktown for the next 5 years, a key piece of what they are trying to do. I told you there was a lot of money getting around, 217 milli straight off the bat for Sabonis. He deserves it. He is a very, very fine player. The Clippers, they'll keep former MVP Russell Westbrook. He played terribly when he was wearing the purple and gold of the Lakers, played really well in the blue and the red and the white of the Clippers. So he comes back to the Clippers for 2 years on an $8 million deal. There is a player option attached. So what that means for those who aren't absolutely up to date, a player option on a 2-year contract means at the end of the first year, the player can either opt into the contract or opt out of the contract, depending on what they choose to do. There can also be team options as well, where the team can choose to opt in or opt out. But Westbrook returns to the Clippers. 8 mil, 2 years seems pretty good shopping from the Clippers. Houston, Houston, we have liftoff. They have spent up big, probably as big as anyone across the NBA. They have made waves. They signed former Raptor, the champ, the little man, Freddie Van Vliet. He has received a mammoth 3 years, $130 million. Now, I'm speaking purely in USD. You can do the transaction, or you can do the changeover for yourself. That is a nice exchange rate in Australian dollars. So 130 for 3 years for Freddie V. It's a stunning number, and we may talk about it a little bit later when we get to some of the more staggering deals handed out this offseason. One of the most NBA's probably disliked players. I guess there are some fans who love him, but some who dislike him, Dylan Brooks. He landed in Houston as well. He gets 4 years, $80 million. He joins Freddie Van Vliet. Plenty of tenacity, plenty of grit in Houston. So they have been making moves. The Rockets, Milwaukee, they shore up their squad. They like to stay with what they know. They like to stick with that group that won them a championship a few seasons ago. Brook Lopez, an ultra improved defender on the inside, a nice outside shooter for a big man. He stays in Milwaukee. He gets $48 million for 2 seasons. And the big one is Chris Middleton. He sticks around with the Bucks, of course, championship winning swingman. He gets $102 million across 3 years. Philadelphia, nothing is ever quiet in the city of brotherly love. Patrick Beverley, the tenacious one. He has landed in Philly alongside Joel Embiid and probably James Harden. Well, get the popcorn out. This will be fascinating. Speaking of Harden, he's opted into his deal the last season of his contract, only then to request a trade. So he's opted into the contract. So he's looking for a sign and trade deal with someone. Apparently the asking price, Woj and Shams tell me, the asking price is high. And at this point, Harden might be just having to play out that contract. And we know how that ends. The problem is with that, when James Harden doesn't show up for off-season activities, when he gets a little distracted from basketball, he can get a little bigger. He still balls, but he can get a little bigger. Cleveland, they handed out some big money to a former Miami role player, Max Strus. He made some big-time playoff triples with the Heat, but he leaves South Beach and lands in Cleveland on a huge deal, 4 years, $63 million. It's a sign and trade move, which involved a few different pieces. San Antonio were involved as well as the Heat, but 63 mil to Cleveland is all you need to know in that deal. So Max Strus goes to the land. Desmond Bane, the Memphis Grizzly, he sticks around in Memphis. He gets 5 by 207 to stick around in Memphis. And sticking with Justin Timberlake's Grizzlies, Derrick Rose. This is an interesting signing. Not about the money, not about the performance. Derrick Rose arrives in Memphis. Of course, he went to college at the University of Memphis. He played under Coach Calipari before he jetted off to Kentucky. But Derrick Rose turns up in Memphis, and I heard some conversations or some conversation from their general manager about him being a leader in the locker room and a leader on the practice floor, probably aimed up at Ja Morant. The Pacers, they have extended Tyrese Halliburton as well. He gets a max deal, 5 years, up to $260 million, a quarter of a billy. Damn, these NBA owners have got some coin. His former coach, said he was sticking around. Mike Malone, championship winner from Denver, he said Bruce Brown was sticking around. Well, Bruce Brown's gone. He's up and out. 2 years, $45 million to join the Pacers. He's a player you want on your squad. Now, $22.5 million a year is pretty steep, but he's a great role player. He's energetic. He hustles. He defends. He can play multiple positions. He can defend multiple positions. Bruce Brown is a pacer, Dallas. Big D. I love watching Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. I'm not sure how he's going owning the Dallas Mavericks at this present time because Kyrie Irving sticks in Dallas on a massive deal. 3 years, $126 million. Stay tuned. You know he makes the top 3 worst deals of the offseason. A good deal for Dallas was Seth Curry. Not Steph. That would be an amazing deal. Seth Curry, the marksman formerly of Brooklyn and Philly. He lands in the corner to just hit some open threes for Dallas. Seth Curry is a Maverick. Toronto, now a man who has had some indifferent feelings about and indifferent experiences with free agency, Dennis Schroeder. He's left some cash on the table before, but he gets some of that back in free agency. He gets $26 million over 2 years to go north of the border. So the German is playing in Canada in the National Basketball Association of America. Bigger. The mighty Lakers, we've got to get to the Lakers. They made some moves. They made 3 re-signings, which is crucial, and they brought one in. Rui Hachimura, he stays in La La Land, 3 years, $51 million. That's a nice deal for Hachimura. One of the most liked players across the association, Austin Reeves, he gets a nice deal, $55 million for 4. So Hachimura gets more per year, but Austin Reeves does get the 4th season. He gets 8%, an 8% pay rise year on year. And D'Angelo Russell, was fascinated to see what the Lakers would do with him. Could have easily heard them or saw them shopping him around, trying to get something a little bit better. There's some talk on Twitter. My guy, Monaco Moneyline, I think he calls himself Alex Monaco. He's very entertaining on Twitter. One of the Vegas guys who lives in New York. He loves his betting on the American sports. He thinks they should be looking at a D'Angelo Russell for James Harden deal. It'd be exciting, but as a LeBron fan, no thanks. So D'Angelo Russell gets $37 million across 2 years. He can also opt out of that deal after the first season. And the role player, the one they brought in from Miami, a man who hit plenty of big shots in the playoffs, like Max Strus. His name is Gabe Vincent. He turns up in Laker purple and gold, 3 years, $33 million to hit open shots on passes from LeBron. That's not bad. Portland, the PDX, former Piston Jeremy Grant, he re-signed with the Blazers, 5 years, $160 million deal. It's a good deal for both. He's one that you could easily think would have went north of $200 million, but it is a good deal for both. He's a good player. It's a good deal for him. I'm not sure it's enough to keep Damian Lillard in town. We'll get to that in a moment. It seems like Dame time is up in the PDX. Washington, a man I picked for most improved player about 3 years ago. It might have been a year or two early. Kyle Kuzma. Forget about what he wears before the games. Let's worry about what he does on the floor. His stocks have climbed significantly. He gets $102 million to stay in the nation's capital. He had a career year in Washington last year, and he gets $100 million. Utah, the Jazz, one-time 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson. He hangs around in Utah, 3 years, $55 million. I think his play fell off a little bit last year, but it's a pretty good deal for both player and club. A team who are having issues. Chicago. Lonzo Ball, he is expected to miss the entirety of the 2023-2024 season. So the Bulls have reached out to the NBA. They are trying to get exemption and place him on the disabled player exemption list to just save or shave $10 million off their salary cap. To be confirmed, the answer of that one. There was a lot of crowing, Mark Blicavs included, when the prospect of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Lonzo Ball went together. Throw in Nikola Vucevic. Well, guess what? Bang, blow it up. Eric Gordon, he's a son. Phoenix are contending, and Eric Gordon arrives. He apparently, reportedly, allegedly turned down more cash and other contenders to join Phoenix, and he will add valuable shooting, outside shooting, and playoff experience to the Suns. They're all in the Suns. They're not hiding from anyone. They are all in. I like the move from the Suns. Eric Gordon will be handy in the desert. One of the potential contenders out west as well, the champs from a year ago, Golden State Warriors, they get former Sun Chris Paul. CP3 goes and comes off the bench, you'd imagine, for the Warriors. He'll be a handy pickup, play 20 to 28, 30 minutes a game, allow Steph Curry to play off the ball, let him run off some screens, get some open shots, let Chris Paul run the offense. I like the move for Golden State. I like the fit for Chris Paul, just starting to take him more of a backseat at this stage of his career. He's about 38 years of age. And the one we weren't sure about, now I'm not sure about Klay Thompson, but apparently he's going to stay. The one who had to re-sign or had to choose to go elsewhere was Draymond Green. Well, Draymond stays 4 years, $100 million. He remains a Warrior, and he gets to press for another championship. He's got 4. Well, he's got 4 years as well, $100 million. So that's a wrap. That's a quick wrap on what's happened largely across the association. But the Aussies, we cannot forget the Aussies, because the Aussies have been making waves in free agency as well. Now, former number 5 overall pick, Dante Exum, of course, he had a really good run with the Boomers in the Olympics. He's back in the NBA on a guaranteed deal, guaranteed 2-year deal with Dallas. So he joins Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Seth Curry. He's been plying his trade in Europe with Partizan in Serbia. So great to see Dante Exum, a Melbourne boy, back in the NBA on a guaranteed deal. Let's hope he can stick at it this time around. He's been shooting the ball really well from three. I think he shot the ball at about 40% in Europe this season. Also shot his free throws at about 85%. We know he can get to the rack. We know he's explosive. 6'6" point guard. Let's hope he can stick at it. Another Melbourne-based guy, or a man who played for Melbourne United, won a championship with them, Jock Landale. He leaves Phoenix. He ends up in Houston, 4 years, $32 million. A big deal, but there's a big asterisk on this deal. Only the first year is guaranteed. So the remaining 3 years, all non-guaranteed. So Jock Landale is going to have to play his tail off to secure the total of $32 million. But it is a nice contract, $8 million guaranteed the first season. He gets a look at the following 3 seasons. He's a handy player. He can play pick and pop on the offensive end, and he's also a good pick and roll defender on the defensive end. Defends the paint better than you'd imagine for someone of his size. Jumping, or maybe not so jumping Joe Ingles lands in Orlando. He's racking up some cash late in his career. He gets a 2-year deal with the Magic, $22 million. It's a pretty nice deal for a man who is about to turn 36 years of age, but he is a very fine playmaker, can still hit that open triple on that lefty side. He is a very, very good locker room guy. So $22 million for 2 years for Joe Ingles. Jack White, of course, the Denver Nugget championship winning swingman. He leaves the Nuggets on that 2-way contract. He joins Oklahoma City, joins Josh Giddey, joins one other man we'll get to in a moment on a guaranteed deal. Aussie Jack gets a 2-year deal. There wasn't a lot of information around about the finances, but the important thing is it's a guaranteed deal. He gets an opportunity to be on an NBA roster full time. He only got to play 17 NBA games this year, but when he played in the G League, he played 15 games, averaged 17 and 9, had some big time games in the G League as well, did Jack White. So congrats to him and good luck with the Thunder. And I mentioned one more Aussie who will be in Oklahoma City. It's the Aussie NBA veteran, the man who's played more NBA games than any Aussie ever, Patty Mills. He'll join Giddey and he'll join Jack White in Oklahoma City on his expiring deal. He's owed about $7 million in the last season of his contract, but he'll be – Brooklyn just didn't want a part of him. Jacques Vaughn just didn't want to play him. He will still be able to get down and shoot some triples. He is a very, very white-hot shooter when he gets busy. So I still have faith that Patty Mills can play a role at the NBA level. At the absolute worst, he'll be a great culture guy for a very, very young and inexperienced Oklahoma City Thunder core. So that's what's happening with the Aussies. That's what's happening around the rest of the NBA. Have a look at a couple of deals that might be on the horizon. There might be a couple of deals still to be made. Damian Lillard. Now, he was staying, he was going, he was staying, he was going. Now, apparently, he's going. Apparently, reportedly, allegedly, you got to be careful with these things. He is only keen on a trade to Miami. Now, that's going to be tough because Miami haven't got a lot of draft picks. They haven't got a lot of capital. Now, they want to keep Jimmy Butler. They want to keep Bam Adebayo. That makes sense. They probably are willing to offer up Tyler Hero, but the Blazers are pretty well stocked for talented youngish guards. So I'm not sure whether that's a great fit for the Blazers. But let's imagine Lillard in Miami, because generally Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, the Heat have a way of figuring these things out. So let's just think that they get it done. So Lillard's the main man, plays shooting guard. Butler slides to small forward. You've got Bam. You potentially get a bit more size on the inside to protect Bam from some of those big-time guys, e.g. Nikola Jokic. And all of a sudden, you're looking like a squad. So Lillard, Jimmy Buckets, Bam. I like that trio. I've said all the way through, I don't think Jimmy Butler can lead a team to an NBA championship. He's been to the finals twice. He hasn't performed in the finals twice, or he hasn't performed the way that other superstars have. So Lillard would be perfect for Miami. I also referenced James Harden earlier in the pod. Well, he is a massive TBC. I'm I'm very much thinking I'm going to wake up one morning and read, that he's gone. So what happens there, who knows? But he's opted into his deal with Philly. He wants to be traded. We've heard stories about Houston. We've heard stories about other teams. I'm not sure what's happening with Joel Embiid. I would let him walk. I'd move him. I'd get what I could for him. I don't think he and Joel Embiid will ever work. I would turn it over to Tyrese Maxey. Let him run the offense. Let him do his thing. Let Embiid be the guy on the inside. I don't think James Harden is their man. Now, before we move along, before we start to get up out of here, I want to talk about some mad money. We call it mad money. Now, I'm not counting anyone's pockets. I am not knocking anything but not knocking anyone for getting whatever cash, whatever loot, whatever big bag of coin they could get. But there are a few deals that just left me a little sideways. Some that just made me think the NBA just is forced to give up cash. They're forced to give players big time deals. Now, here are three that sent me a little bit giddy and not of the Josh variety. LaMelo Ball, Charlotte. LaMelo Ball gets $260 million, a max extension in Charlotte to stick it out with the Hornets. He's played 3 seasons, LaMelo Ball. We loved him when he played at Illawarra in the NBL. He lit the joint up. He's played 3 NBA seasons. He missed 45 games this season, and he missed 31 games in his rookie season. His ability to be on the floor, his ability to be available is not great. He shoots the ball at 42%. He shoots it from 3 at 40%, but he shoots the twos at only 42%. And he scores less than 20 points per game. Of course, he's flashy. He's got the haircuts. He's got the grills. He's got the name. He sells the shoes and the jerseys for Puma. But I'm not sure that Supermax deal is a great piece of shopping from Charlotte. Michael Jordan's trying to get out. Maybe case in point. Kyrie Irving, this is obvious. 3 years, $126 million in Dallas. It didn't feel like a good fit when he went to Dallas alongside Luka. Both guys want the ball for 15 seconds of the shot clock, maybe even longer. Why, oh, why did Dallas feel the reason to sign Kyrie Irving on a long-term deal? 3 years, $126 million. It's madness. I understand, I respect, I see the talent. And I understand that he's made the biggest shot in Cleveland basketball history, helped bring them a championship. But he's a problem child. He's a problem child. And factually, whatever your opinion might be on Kyrie Irving, you can eliminate it all. It comes down to this. Across the past 4 seasons, he has played just 163 games. He has effectively missed 2 of the past 4 seasons. He's 31 years of age, and he's been wholly unreliable. I say this all the time. Your best ability is your availability. He has had, count them on your hand, count them on both hands. He has had so many reasons why he's been unavailable. I don't understand the deal. And then I feel like I'm shooting Bambi a little bit. Freddie Van Vliet. Mate, last year, 20 points per game, 4 boards, 7 assists, great numbers. But I just don't know whether he deserves $130 million. Did you need to give him $130 million? He's closing in on 30, which is not old in the NBA, but it's not young. He's small. He's hardly athletic. I'm going to take the $1.30 that he regresses this season. There's no way he averages 24 and 7 this season as a Rocket. I feel like that contract could become problematic within 18 months. I hate saying it. I try and be positive, but Kyrie, Freddie Van, and LaMelo, I don't like those contracts. But that's what we love about the offseason. Some deals are great. Some deals are bad. We think this, we think that. Proof is in the pudding on the court during the season and the playoffs. And then we start this bad boy up again. We go through this whole cycle all over again. Now, there will be more trades done. Sitting here on a Monday afternoon, almost 2 p.m., chatting to you, chatting down the line. So there'll be more deals done. Again, I'm not trying to keep up with Shams and Woj. They're running 3 phones each. SportsCenter anchors are just pivoting, trying to find out who the next deal is to get done. But stay tuned to the Field socials and thefieldau.com. We'll try and keep you up to date with everything that's happening in the NBA. It is crazy. It is madness. We love it. We'll try and keep abreast of everything that's going on across the NBA. We can't wait for the season to start. Make sure you hang with us on the field. We've got plenty of harness racing, some thoroughbred racing, some AFL action, some NFL action. That's not too far away as well. Thefieldau.com, the Field socials as well, Instagram and Twitter. Let's keep having fun following the sports we love. Thanks for joining me on the NBA Free Agency Special. My name is Josh Jenkins, and we will speak again real soon.